Many of you know that I really like the quality of the footage of the Nano Plus. In my opinion, the normal video mode of this drone is the best ready-to-use quality available in any consumer drone at the moment, which is excellent for users that need to post footage immediately on social media. Recently, Autel has released a new version of the firmware containing two extra profiles, log and HDR. So let's see all about it. Let's have an in-depth look at the four modes available. Here we are in difficult conditions. It is very hazy. Normal mode has excellent detail in the shadows, in the trees and the foliage. The colors are very nice. The moire is very contained, almost absent. It maintains very good detail even in the elements far away, as you can see in this seaside town behind the hills. There is not even a hint of noise. Zero. Nada. I also find that this mode produces very solid files that respond well to post-processing, which is surprising for a pre-processed file in 8-bit mode, therefore with limited color space. Some users think that the normal profile is too sharp, although I disagree. But now there is a log profile that shouldn't have any issues of this kind. With normal, there is the option of using a defog function, which comes with 3 different strength versions. On this hazy day, I've used the maximum strength. Under these conditions, Defog is probably the profile that gives the best results, as we get a bit more definition in the background and the structure of the sky improves. The downside is that we sometimes have the slightest decrease of detail in the shadows, so there is a bit of a trade-off. But it is another profile that I use quite often with good results. In HDR mode, apparently, the camera captures frames at different exposures and automatically blends them together to provide more contrast and a wider dynamic range. In most conditions there is a slight loss of contrast, definition and saturation compared to the other modes, so it is a bit of a one-trick pony, to be used only when there is a strong difference between the brightest and the darkest part of a scene, mostly in shot towards the sun. We notice that in this mode the shadows are brighter. I will test it later under high dynamic range conditions. Finally, we have the much-awaited flat log profile. It is an 8-bit mode, while the log on the Mavic 3 and the Air 2S is in 10 bits, therefore with a wider choice of colors. This profile is not as flat as the one of the Mavic 3, but still needs a big dose of post-processing, including the use of LUTs. In my opinion, the results are very good. There is excellent detail in the shadows, and the colors are quite natural. On the downside, I can detect a tiny bit of moire in the architectural features, but nothing to worry about. It is also the only mode showing a tiny bit of noise under certain circumstances, but nothing to worry about. I use the excellent Neat Video to get rid of any sort of noise. You can watch my video about it by clicking on the link on screen now, and you will find infos about Neat Video in the description below. The log files respond incredibly well to post-processing, and this is definitely the one to use to adapt the footage to the color scheme of a project. One big disappointment is that both log and HDR are only available when shooting in auto exposure. Sometimes Autel goes for very unusual choices, like forgetting about histogram, and now this one. If someone uses a log profile, is certainly not willing to shoot video in auto mode. I hope Autel will fix this very, very soon. I was hoping for good light conditions, but the next day it was only marginally better. Still a bit hazy. Let's put the four modes face to face by showing the same scene with the same light conditions, one after the other. For Defog this time I'm using medium strength, and as you can see the effect is more subtle. Let me know in the comment which one you prefer. And if you find it interesting, give a big thumb up, it really helps to grow the channel. Let's now try high dynamic range situations, an area where the Nano Plus performed already extremely well, even with only the simple normal mode. Let's see how the two new profiles behave. Here the sun is just outside the left part of the frame, behind clouds. But the light is reflected by some clouds and therefore extremely bright, while the elements on the ground are very dark. In my opinion, all modes work really well here, it is just a matter of personal preference. Now the sun is in the middle of the frame, behind clouds, but the brightness is increased by the reflections over the clouds and over the sea. It is one of the most difficult situations. Very hard to protect the highlights and recover something from the shadows. This is certainly not a territory for the mode Defog. There is way too much contrast. In my opinion, normal and HDR are the two that handle the situation well. Log struggles seriously here. So, now we have plenty of choice for every different taste, and the sensational quality of footage with the Nano Plus has become even better. Click on this link to watch my other videos about the Nano Plus. I will soon analyze more in depth the photography side of this excellent drone, as recently there has been a few interesting updates. Don't forget to hit the like button if you find this video interesting. Thank you.